It's black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 It's black and white.
Hello there, my name is Lee. Welcome back to another video and welcome to Timetable Reviews. So this is the show where I review timetables in my collection, and welcome to the third edition of this mini-series showcasing all the timetables that I got at the Rickmansworth bus running day in March 2025. So in this episode it's going to be slightly different to normal, as I'm going to do two lots of timetables. The same time and storage on my phone, I'm going to be doing two on this episode. So let's go to the table and let's see what timetables they are. So here's the table and here's the timetables. So these are the Central and North Hertfordshire guides from January 1984 and June 1984. So as you can see, these are both made by London Country again. This was one of the last timetables that London Country actually made, as of course a year later National Bus Company, also known as NBC / London Country, was split into two, as because of deregulation on its way. So yeah. So we're going to start with the Central Hertfordshire Guide, if I just move that out of the way for a second. But then we'll start with the Central Hertfordshire Guide. This is from January 1984. As you can see, it shows all sorts of stuff. It's in a newer style than what we've obviously seen in the last few episodes. This is also not a High Wycombe one. This is actually, I know, for North Hertfordshire and Central Hertfordshire. So, yeah. So as you can see, it shows all the companies' names: London Country, London Transport, All the Valley, United Counties and National Travel. And it then shows all the network of services, which we'll quickly do in this episode. The index, as usual, like all good guides do. And then you've got all mood travel information and also all the garages. Now there is a few notable missing ones, like High Wycombe and some other ones. Obviously Tring and High Wycombe closed 7 years before this was actually produced. This was produced in 1984, of course, and of course High Wycombe and Tring garages closed in 1977. Also shows travel offices in London, Exeter Bridge, Crawley, Gatwick Airport, Gravesend, Harlow and Heathrow Airport, as well as Hemel Hempstead, Hertford, Reigate, Sevenoaks, Slough and Watford. And then we got our first service, the BW1, a Bournemouth Town Runner. Half hourly service on that. So yeah. Then G1, G2, which was South Hatfield services from Welwyn Garden City. Half hourly on that. Both hourly each. G3 was another Welwyn Garden City circular service, every 20 minutes on that. No, it looks like one of them was a G1, so it was actually 2 an hour. G4 was every 15 minutes. Another Welwyn Garden City circular service. Then the S1 was a St Albans service. Same for the S2 one. Returned. That was a peak house service though. S2 next. Another one of these St Albans circular services, every 20 minutes on that. The S1 I believe still does exist. It doesn't go to where it goes now though. It now goes to another estate. For many years that has been operated by Uno, but it's now run by Red Eagle. S2 doesn't exist anymore though. S4, S5, S6 still do exist. These run by Red Eagle nowadays. And a company that we'll probably hear a lot of in the next couple of episodes actually, because we're coming to that year now, because this is the last, I must add, these are the last guides from the 20th century. The next timetable in the next episode is actually from the 21st century. So spoilers. But as you can see, these services were once an hour. Well, the S5s were twice an hour. There was also a Sunday service, which is Code G to fund the bus garage. Even though I don't think there was a bus garage in St Albans. Then there's the 44, which was operated by both London Country and United Counties. United Counties being the Luton operator at the time. These only ran on a Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday or whatever. So there was no service beyond Wednesdays until Wednesday, from Sunday to Wednesday. So only 3 times a week. But it was like 3 trips each operating. Then the 84, New Barnet and Albans. The 84 does still exist. It's run by Sullivan Buses now, which you obviously mentioned in the last episode with the 306. Now, the route doesn't go to New Barnet anymore. It goes as far as Potter's Bar from St Albans. There is another route called the 84B that runs from Potter's Bar to New Barnet, run by a company called Central Connect, also known as Venter Group. But that service was half hourly. 300 303 was Potter's Bar to Hitchin, both every hour each. Then the 304 was Hitchin Transhanger, which was a every 2-hour service. So you could tell that these services weren't the best. 306 again, this was running Bournemouth Garston at the time only, though this time it wasn't. It was still good levels, but only once a day now. Running, looks like, yeah, hourly service. Brilliant. Of course, the 306 does still exist, run by Sullivan nowadays, of course. An operator that does really like their old numbers. 307 next. Harpenden to Hemel Hempstead, and the H7, which was a Hemel Hempstead town bus at the time to Woodhart Farm. Because the 307 went through it. 307 doesn't exist anymore. If I remember rightly, I think the 307 is now Route 46, I want to say, run by Centre Bus, but don't quote me on that. 311 again, a route that we showcased again in the last episode. Shady Garston, hourly service on that all the way as well. There was an extra one every half an hour that terminated in Bushy, which just made the Watford local bus basically. Then we've got the 314, 315 Hitchin to Wellington, which still does exist, run by Centre Bus nowadays. A couple of times a day there. Then the 321, the hit Luton Rickmansworth route. The 321 does still exist, of course, run by Arriva from Luton Depot. Sadly, though, the route had been cut back by now. Unfortunately, it no longer went to Uxbridge. It now terminated at Rickmansworth at the station in Rickmansworth. Of course, and the 321 does still go somewhat near the way. It goes as far as Watford now. It used to go back to Rickmansworth a few years ago, but then Arriva cut it back again. Then the 324, there's like the 334, which was Wellington to Waltham Cross. Obviously, as I recall, this Waltham Cross bus station is still closed. It's closed for another few months. Unfortunately, they're doing a lot of work down there. Hourly service on that. It also shows the 390 bus, which 390 still does exist for many years. The 390 was run by a company called Richmond's, but it's now run by Centre Bus and as part of the Connect Herts network for some reason, and I don't like it. Then the 340 Wellington City Hemel Hempstead, which is now the 302, of course, run by Arriva. Half hourly service on that though. 341, which was St Albans to Hertford or South Hatfield. If it was Hertford, it was hourly. It's got a star next to it. Okay. But it was really complicated. I don't understand why London Country kept doing that. Doing weird service patterns and stuff. Then the 342, 343, Hatfield or past bar to Dunstable. There isn't a direct bus from there anymore. There is a route from St Albans, which is Route 34. Run by Red Eagle, of course, because yeah, I know they took it on from Centre Bus a couple of years ago. Then we got the 355 Bonwood to Harpenden via St Albans. It was an hourly service all the way, but there was an extra trip every half an hour that started in St Albans. Again, there isn't. I don't think it's a direct bus anymore. It might be the 601. I was to say run by Uno. Also, I think it's called the Albion Way now, but don't quote me on that. Then the 356, which was a hospital service on a Sunday from St Albans to Shelley Hospital via Matbury Hospital and Harbury Hospital. Those hospitals no longer exist, unfortunately. But London Country used to run these special hospital buses. What you used to do is you used to get there. The bus will leave the bus garage at 6:24 on a Sunday. Yes, I know, quite early. This is due to obviously the visiting hours at the hospitals. Got there at 6:55 and then you'll go at 7:13 because obviously you only get 10 minutes. You'll get there 5 minutes beforehand and the bus leaves 3 minutes after visiting tonight. And it's over. Got back to St Albans at 7:44. Next up, 357, 358, Bonwood Harpenden again. This time a different way though. Then we've got the 361 St Albans to Howard or Ratley. Of course, the 361 does still exist. It's run by Red Eagle. And it goes all the way to Harpenden now. Not Harpenden, Bonwood. That's the one. Hourly service on that, which Red Eagle used to do. Then we got the 366 Luton Hatfield, which does still exist. For many years, it was an hourly service, but I think it's 2 hourly service now. They cut the frequent it a while ago, and then Centre Bus brought it back. But this service was every 2 hours, so it was no good. 381 was a Wednesday only with Bricket Woods to St Albans. Terminated at the bus garage. I don't know why the buses kept running to the bus garage. The bus garage is not in the centre. 388, Monday to Friday service from Hertford to Welwyn Garden City. 821 was a school bus to John F. Kennedy Schools, which, if I remember rightly, is in Hemel Hempstead. And then 2 more schools, Townsend School and Nicholas Barbary School. 2 of the schools that actually Sullivan buses now serve. And then you've got 868 at Harpenden local bus, same for the 869, which was a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday service. 884 was St Albans Palace Bar, 3 times a day on that. Not the best. And then the summary services, St Albans Hatfield, London Colney to St Albans. Then the Green Line services, Luton Airport, of course, 707, 717. 724, Hertford Windsor. 727, Luton Crawley. 733, which was a Green Line / All the Valley route from Hitchin from Reading, via Vickensworth, Garston, St Albans, Hatfield, Welwyn Garden City, Stevenage, and up to Hitchin. Operated by both. 2 times a day was run by All the Valley, who is the Reading company, of course. But then they returned in the afternoon. Fantastic. 734, 796, which was either Literal or Hitchin from London. Then 746, Bonwood to Milton Keynes on a Saturday. Milton Keynes, the city of Milton Keynes was growing at the time. So then there's 737, which was a Whipsnade Webber Abbey service, which was during the summer. Obviously, this was in January. So 738 was Watford MK. 7:50 was the speed line service from Hemel Hempstead to Waltham Cross. 7:56 Luton to London once a day. Obviously there was more frequent services. 7:57 was Luton Airport, London. Via Luton. Of course, if you don't know, I don't know why they do this, but the service starts in Luton Airport, but then goes back on itself a little bit, because where the motorway is in Luton is closer to going from Luton first, then to the airport, and then just straight down the motorway. And then there was 7:58, 7:59, Redbourne or Hemel to London. 7:54, Hatfield, London. 7:66, Potters Milton Keynes. 7:97 was a Cambridge to London service operated by both Green Line and Eastern Counties, the Cambridge operator. There was also a night bus, London Transport N80, Potters Bar South Finchley. The PB1, which was the Potters Bar Town run at the time. Obviously, for many years, that was operated by Metro Line themselves, one of the London operators, but as a commercial operator under their Metro Line commercial brand. Sadly, that was actually their last route they operated, and it's sadly recently been withdrawn and is now operated by Uno. And it is actually the exact same route, the Rushfield area. So 107 is Brimstown Queensbury, which I think is now run by Arriva. But it doesn't. I don't think it goes to Brimstown anymore. I think they cut it back to Enfield. 242 Potters Bar Chingford, another one of these services that used to be operated by Metro Line Commercial, but they rerouted it so it no longer goes to Chingford, it now goes to Waltham Cross instead. 263 Potters Bar Archway, which I think is run by Metro Line now, London though. 292 Bournemouth Edgware. 298, which was Saffron's Time Park Lane, which I think is now run by Sullivan. Used to be run by Sullivan, but after the pulled out, I think it's run by another operator now. Might be, I want to say Uno. I don't quote me on that. I'm not from this area, of course. 313 Chingford Potters Bar, which I think is still run by Arriva now, if I remember rightly. Then the United Counties routes. The United Counties, if you don't know, is the Luton operator. And they operated a couple of services like the 4243 Luton Hemel Hempstead, which is now, as is via Dunstable Whipsnade, which sadly doesn't exist anymore. There's no longer a direct bus from Luton to Whipsnade, apart from over the weekend with Route Zoo, run by Centre Bus. Then you got the other one, which was McLean Redbourne, still run today by Centre Bus with an hourly service. It then shows other coach operators, routes, and there was one that went via Aylesbury, run by National Travel. There was a couple from National Travel, 2 from Scottish Bus Group, 1 to Edinburgh and 1 to Glasgow. And there were also Whippet coaches based at the time in Huntington. And then British Rail Services. Then a map of the network. And then maps of Bournemouth, Harpenden, Hatfield, St Albans, and Potters Bar. And a map of Wellingham City over there, and the map of the network. But yeah, that's the Central Hertfordshire guide. So now we'll have a look at the North Hertfordshire guide. Here's the North Hertfordshire guide. This is from June 1984. Again, shows all operators, London Country, United Counties, and other operators, Eastern, Sea Mile, Crooks with Bigglesway, Premium Travel, HV Richmond, or Richmond's now, and Smiths. Smiths and Crooks and Premium don't exist anymore. HV Richmond is now Richmond's coaches. Sea Mile is Miles' coach. Is still Mile coaches. I think Smith's coaches only ceased a couple of years ago though, and I believe one of their coaches is now with Vale Travel of Aylesbury, a company that I obviously use all the time. It shows all the services by all the operators, which again I won't mention that. It's basically the same. It's basically the same jargon, because obviously it's just a copy and paste job. And then we got Stevenage Bus, because obviously this is mentioning Stevenage here. Stevenage Bus, of course, if you're not in the know, was one of these weird map things, the market analysis project stuff. So, the Stevenage bus network still does exist. Most of them are run by Arriva. There is one by, there's a couple run by Centre Bus, I believe, and also Central Connect. I've heard one of them. But as you can see, they're all practically the same. So I'm not going to boggle your mind for that. Because it still sticks. Those routes. There was also a couple of short routes, like the SB8 was just literally an 11-minute run to the industrial area. Shows also summary guys, Summons Green. And then you've got Route 44 from Stevenage to Luton. Again, it was still run by both London Country and United. And still Thursdays to Saturdays only. Why does it only run 3 a week? Then the 188, which was a Wednesday only service from Royston to Standon. Once a day, 40-minute journey. In the afternoon, though, it looks like it used to terminate in Hertford for some reason. Not sure why. 300, 303, Potters Bar to Hitchin again. Which again, I won't mention because I've already mentioned it in the other timetable. 304 again. I don't know why they did it. It's different stuff. 314, 315 still there. And 323 Monday to Friday only serves from Hitchin to Stevenage twice a day. 331 was an interesting one. Hertford to Buntingford. This is now run by Arriva. And I believe also Richmond's also run it as well. This is an hourly service, which Arriva, who run it out of their Ware garage, because they don't have a garage in Hertford. They've got a garage in Ware instead. 379 Hertford to Stevenage, a couple of times today on that. 382 Litchworth to Stevenage, a couple of times a day on that. Which, I mean, what's the thing about Litchworth? I mean, 384 Stevenage Hertford, which was a couple more frequent buses. 386 was Hertford to Bishop Stortford on a Tuesday or Thursday, or if it's a Tuesday and a Saturday, it was Hitchin, or on Fridays and Saturdays, Stevenage. So it depends on the time of day. On the week. 391 for Cost Stevenage. And then we go back to the normal timetable quickly with the 803 school bus from Litchworth. Catsworth. Sorry. 12-minute journey for school kids. You could literally walk that in about an hour, probably. So then we've got the Hitchin, Reading, All the Valley, Green Line 733 again. 734, 796, which was either a Hitchin or Litchworth to London. 744 was once a day on a Tuesday and a Saturday to Milton Keynes from Harlow. Speedline 750 again. Hemel Hempstead, Warren Cross, 765 Stevenage, all the way to Brighton. Yes, Brighton. You've got 4 journeys a day to Brighton. Brilliant. 797 again, run by Eastern County Green Line, Cambridge. 798 was also existing. This went to Cambridge as well. Looks like it was 797 there, 798 back. Oh no, maybe not. 798. There's back as well. Then the X80 was a couple of market services that United ran. Toddington to Hitchin. Then there was the X81, which was Flitwick Hitchin, or the X83 Hudson Conquest to Hitchin as well. X82 was Litchworth to Bedford. 68 was Litchworth to Milton Keynes, even though it ran only to Litchworth once a week on a Saturday. 75, Grange Estate to Lordshire Estate, Town Circular, even though it was run by United. School journey on the 77. 76, 78 was Grange Estate Road. This is the more frequent one to Grange Road, which I want to say is now on Route 55, run by Arriva. 79, 92 to 99, Sheffield or Border to Luton, because obviously I believe these were run by their garage in Luton, which later became Luton District Transport, aka Luton District, of course. As you see, there's quite a few pages for this one. Then the ET, Great Royal League Western, which I believe still runs. I think it's run by Centre Bus now. 8182 Town Centre to Michael's Road in Hitchin. Even though it was from Hermitage Road, and it was literally a 20-minute run with a half-hourly service. Oh, one bus. Brilliant. 83 Power Way Lane, 31-minute journey. 84 Railway Station Westmill Estate, which is now run by on the 304, I believe. Colin Common from Hitchin on the 87, 88 Hitchin Luton, which starts to run by Red Eagle nowadays, of course. Hitchin Henlow 89, which I believe is now run by Centre Bus, I want to say, but it could be Grand Palmer though, because I know they've got a route down there somewhere. 1991, which was Hitchin to Royston. 146, 147, 148, which was Luton to Henlow. 182, 284 from Bedford to Hitchin. $183 Beggleswade Hitchin. 185 Beggleswade Hitchin on Lichworth. Depending on the time of day. 186 Lichworth Bedford. 188 Biggleswade Ashwell, which 188 does still exist. Biggleswade. It's now run by Grand Palmer. 684 was a twice a week service from Sandy to Stevenage. And the 690 was Biggleswade Stevenage on a Wednesday. Then there's summary services from Royston to Burns Road with United Counties Route 91 and Eastern Counties 146, 147, 149. Then we got the Crook service, which was a Monday to Friday, once a day service from Biggleswade to Stevenage, and a couple of times a day on a Saturday. Crook coaches don't exist anymore, unfortunately. They existed many years ago. Then the Eastern Counties routes from Golden Moors to Royston to Cambridge. Eastern Counties being the Cambridge operator, of course, so it meant that they really cared about that area. But of course, it went via some places. It was an interesting service pattern, though. I mean, that was the thing, though. And then the Miles service, they operated once a week service on a Wednesday from Allwell to Royston. I believe that's where they're based now, actually. I think they still got that route, actually, but it might be run by ATB now. Then Richmond also operated a route. This is run from Sandon to Royston on a Wednesday or a Saturday. Then Premium Travel. Premium Travel were one of the major operators in the area. They operated this route 1 from Royston all the Droxford Aerodrome to Cambridge. They also operated number 12, Droxford Royston, once a week on a Wednesday. Don't know why they kept going to Royston on a Wednesday. I think that was market day in Royston, actually. Route 16 as well, which was run by both Richmond and Premium. Premium only had the Route 16 number, though. It's the ER, obviously Richmond twice a day, and the Premium Travel in the afternoon. Premium Travel also ran it on a Friday. That was on a Wednesday, and Saturday, 3 times a day by both. Premium Travel also ran the 26 twice a week, Thursday and Saturday from Royston to Bishop Stortford. 27 was a Wednesday, Saturday's only service from Brentford to Royston. Route 43, Royston, Stafford Walden, which depending on the time of day. It also didn't run on Monday or a Sunday. And then Smith coaches, who were based in Buntingford, they operated 2 a day on a Thursday from Buntingford, which special Stortford, or on a Monday and Friday dine into Buntingford, or on a Tuesday and a Saturday Buntingford or Felford to Hitchin, or on a Tuesday and a Saturday bunting through to Hitchin in a 3 chance play situation. Then shows other operators. Again run by other operators. Premier also ran a couple of routes. And Whippet had way more routes then. Also British Rail Services again, the map. And then the maps themselves for Hitchin. Then Litchworth and Baldock, which if you don't know are both connected. And Royston. And a map of the main area of the area, Stevenage. But that is the guides. Those are the guides from 1984. I must add, as I said, these are the last timetables from the 1900s I've got in this series. The rest are now from the 21st century, and the next one I can confirm is from 2002. So thank you very much for watching this episode of Timetable Reviews. If you enjoy this stuff, please like, comment, subscribe. I must add that you might have noticed that on the last video, on the London Country Northwest guide, that it was slightly edited differently. Due to circumstances behind my control, I actually had to edit it on my phone. It will be, at the moment, I don't know how I'm going to be doing this episode. So just a warning, that is a one-off. It might happen again, who knows? It just depends on time. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video I make. Goodbye.